So, should you niche? Should you not niche? I believe you absolutely should. I believe there's a lot of benefits to niching down either to an industry or a target or a product or solution.
Welcome to the Business Success by Design podcast, where you'll learn everything you need to know about building a thriving business. This isn't theory. It's hardcore strategies and tactics designed to help you win. Join us as top business coaches, marketers, and business insiders pull back the curtain on what really works in building the business you want and what's just complete BS. You'll get the inside track on how to connect with your audience, build long-term relationships, and be seen as the go-to guy or gal indoor space, all while driving insane profits for you and your business. And now, sit back and listen to rockstar host James Lawson, he's the one with a funny accent, and Angela Inzerillo as they go deep, cut through the crap, and get to the core of making your business work for you.
Hey everyone, James here. Welcome to this episode of the Business Success by Design podcast, where we talk about all things marketing designed to help early stage businesses grow to six figures and beyond. So, in this episode, we are going to talk about niche or niche or however you want to pronounce it. Basically, the question that comes up, and we see a lot on, different blogs and social media posts, is all about like, should I really niche my business? Now, I just happen to have a really strong opinion about this, and I do believe that you should absolutely niche your business. The real question is, what kind of a niche should you do, right? Now, that might sound kind of strange, but if you think about it, whenever you hear the word niche or niche, you're automatically going to default to an industry, typically, right? So we're going to look at, hey, maybe we'll niche in chiropractors, or maybe we'll have a niche in construction or whatever. But typically your brain is going to default into niching an industry. But there's actually another way to do this, which is kind of the way that we've done it. Now, I'm going to tell you this, but you need to understand that it wasn't always like this, right? When we first started, we didn't have the level of clarity that we have right now. But there's another way you can actually niche, and you can actually niche by solution, right? Your product or your service. So when we started our business, and it's funny, we just ran a webinar a couple of days ago where we were actually talking about the niche as being part of your overall kind of marketing foundation. But it was really funny because I was walking them through the evolution of the niche, our niche. And when we first started, our niche was small family-owned businesses, and we were everything to everyone. Like we could do the whole ball game. Whatever you need, we could do it. And then after a while, we were like, we really need to tighten this up. So we became small family-owned businesses, less than $1 million. But we're still doing everything to everybody. And then we got really crazy and said, you know what, let's just move away from the family-owned businesses and let's do small businesses less than $1 million. Now we're thinking we've got this thing cracked. But that in itself still wasn't enough. So over years that we've been doing this, we've eventually got ourselves to a niche where, we work with coaches, consultants, experts in the early stage of businesses doing less than $250K annually who need help with their marketing foundation, right? That's pretty tight now for us. It doesn't exclude us working with anybody else, but at least we know, hey, we've got the industry in there. We know where they are in their business. We know where their revenue stream is, and we know where their problem is. So we've been able to get a lot more clarity around that. But the main point for you listening to this is, look, the question of should you niche or should you not? Here's what niching does. And it's, to me, it's just one of those things where, in fact, let me step back. Whenever we've worked with anybody, any of our new clients, one of the first things we'll look at is, okay, let's understand who you're going after and what you're saying to them. And almost invariably, we look at their target market and it just seems to be too wide. It's too broad, right? So what that does in turn then is it actually starts to dilute your messaging. So we always advocate for get a tight niche, whether it's an industry or a solution. That then is going to help you develop much tighter messaging, right? So now you're not talking to everybody, you're talking to a very specific group of people who've got a very specific problem that you can solve. And it's really important to understand that when your niche, your decision on your niche is going to control all your marketing, all your messaging, is going to control the products and services you provide. It's going to have an influence on your pricing, and it's going to influence your support. All of that just coming from your niche. So if you're out there and you're finding that like your content or your messaging just isn't connecting, there's a really good chance that the reason that's happening is that you haven't tightened up your niche or your target market, and your messaging has become too broad. So it really isn't speaking to anybody. Right? It's not really speaking to anybody. So, should you niche? Should you not niche? I believe you absolutely should. I believe there's a lot of benefits to niching down either to an industry or a target or a product or solution. Now, one of the things that will enter your head is going to be this. Well, James, if I do as you say, and I pick on, I get my target market or my ideal client, whatever, aren't I going to miss opportunities elsewhere? It's actually a myth. It's a fallacy to think that the broader your target market, the more business you're going to accumulate. It really isn't, and especially in the world of experts or coaches, consultants, people delivering services the way we do. What we actually found is actually the reverse. The tighter you can get on your target market or your niche, the easier your messaging becomes and the more business you're actually going to end up doing. So one of our challenges, going back to where we were before, was we were just too broad. The target, the industry or niche we were going after was just too broad, and therefore our messaging was really weak, and it really didn't speak to anybody. When we managed to get it tightened up to where we are now it's significantly easier for us to talk about coaches and consultants in that early stage of business who are below a certain revenue and have maybe stalled or plateaued. We know what the problem is. Like, we know that that's a marketing foundation problem. It's not a tactic problem. It's not, hey, should we run Facebook ads or do blogs or any of that stuff? And you've heard me talk about that in previous episodes. It's nothing to do with that. It's, as your business starts to evolve, is your marketing foundation evolving as well? This is not a one and done. This thing will continue to evolve. There's going to be nuances. There's going to be new things that come into play. And you want to make sure that you've got these things captured. So, first place you're always going to look at is, what is my niche? Is my target market still the same? Or is my product solution still needed, right? Is there still a market for that we're going after? So don't get caught up in this whole idea that the broader your market, the more opportunity you're going to have. It's exactly the reverse of that. And that has been proven time and time again. So, where does that leave us? Well, my belief is, look at how you're performing, look at where your challenges are. Then go back to the people you serve and ask yourself the question, am I really clear on who my target market is? Now, here's a thing that you also need to consider. So even within your niche, if it's an industry or if it's a product or service, your ideal client is still sitting inside that. So whilst a niche Might be a product or service. It could be an industry. Inside of both these things, you still have an ideal client. And that ideal client has certain characteristics that you want to make sure that you're clear on. So for business success by design, we work with people who are very action orientated. They don't play the blame game. They understand that things take time, that business is a marathon, it's not a sprint. So there's certain characteristics that we look for people that we work with. The same should go for you. So even though you might say, my niche is this problem solution, then the people that we want to work with or want to buy this or want to service, we want them to have these certain characteristics. Now, it may well be that you can go problem solution and an industry and an ideal client inside that industry. But only when you have clarity across those assets can you really start to develop messaging that is going to drive prospects to you. It is not complicated, guys. It's not rocket science. But those are the things that you need to focus on. All right. So, question, should I niche, should I not niche? My guidance is find your niche. Find a place where you can go and play, where you can stand out, where you can be unique, be different, create massive value. But get really clear on who that is. If you want to kind of listen more or do a deeper dive on some of this stuff, I would advise you to go and actually watch our webinar. So we run a live webinar every couple of weeks, and the link attached to this podcast can actually take you into the landing page, the sign-up page, and you'll see when the next one's getting done. And I would suggest you go watch that, because that's where we really get into the nuances of the 6 main drivers of a business, right? Of which your niche is one of them. And then the 3 core strategies that you really have to focus on if you want to grow to 250 and above. All right, or at least maybe get to your first 6 figures if that's what you're looking for. So look at the link at the bottom of the page here. That'll take you to the registration. Go check it out. Right, you'll get a lot of value from it. So anyway, guys, listen, this was great. Glad you joined me. Hopefully you got something from this. If you have any comments, questions that you want to make, feel free, hit me up. I'll get back to you. But this was great. And hey, we'll be back next week with something new. All right, take care and have a great day.